Love Judy.
I'm Jessica Dupart. A lot of people know me as Judy. I am the owner of Kaleidoscope Hair Products. To date, the company's probably made close to $40 million. Also birthed Kaleidoscope Realty, Kaleidoscope Management, Kaleidoscope Cares, Kaleidoscope Shipping and Receiving. Yeah, all of that.
The moment DA Brat walked onto the stage, the atmosphere was heavy. She walked with her usual poise, but there was something in her eyes, a rawness that the cameras could capture, but the world couldn't truly understand. DA Brat had been through so much in her life, but today was different. Today, the woman who had once shown nothing but strength and confidence was about to break down and share the most painful truth. Judy had exposed their deepest secrets, and DA Brat was left to deal with the aftermath. For the first time, DA Brat would let the world see her pain, the truth behind the broken relationship, the betrayal that no one could have foreseen. The moment had come to share what had been hidden for so long. DA Brat's voice cracked with emotion as she began to share the reality of Judy's actions. Judy was my world, my partner, but I realized something was terribly wrong, DA Brat said, her voice trembling. It wasn't just about our love anymore. I saw how she started isolating me from everything that mattered, my career, my family, my friends. And then, during one of our arguments, it all came crashing down. The betrayal DA Brat felt wasn't only personal, it reached the very core of her identity. Judy had my trust, and she used that trust to hurt me in ways I never expected. She took our child during the argument, as if our lives meant nothing. DA Brat shared how devastating it was to watch the woman she had loved for years act with such disregard for their family. I could handle the fights, the misunderstandings, but taking our child, that's when everything changed. She paused, wiping a tear. I never thought I would have to fight for my own family. But here we are. The emotions of that moment were still raw, and DA Brat continued to reflect on the betrayal she never saw coming. I thought we could work through anything, but this was too much. DA Brat's sister had always warned her about Judy's financial instability, but she had never imagined it would destroy everything they had built together. I kept telling DA Brat that Judy's financial mess was a ticking time bomb, and it exploded right in front of us, her sister said, her voice tinged with frustration. Judy had always been reckless with money, and DA Brat had to pick up the pieces every single time. Judy's inability to handle finances wasn't just an inconvenience, it was a constant strain on DA Brat's mental health and their family. Every time Judy made a mistake, DA Brat had to take responsibility for it, her sister explained. It started affecting everything, work, home life, everything. Judy's repeated failures to manage money caused arguments and breakdowns in their communication. It wasn't just about paying bills, it was about trust, DA Brat's sister continued. Judy would promise she'd change, but nothing ever changed. DA Brat was carrying everything on her shoulders, and it started weighing her down. The more Judy failed to take responsibility, the more DA Brat felt abandoned. I started feeling like I was fighting alone, even though we were supposed to be in this together, DA Brat shared, her voice breaking. I had no idea how much it was taking from me. I thought I could handle it. But I couldn't. The financial strain was relentless, and DA Brat realized it wasn't just affecting her pocket, it was affecting her soul. I never imagined a relationship would drain me like this, emotionally and financially, DA Brat confessed. It wasn't just about the money, it was about the lies, the broken promises, and the constant stress of trying to make everything work. Judy's inability to manage money turned into an emotional burden for DA Brat. At first, it was manageable. I thought I could fix it, but the more I did, the worse it became. I was paying bills, fixing her messes, covering for her, and I wasn't getting anything in return. DA Brat's mental health took a hit as she juggled her career, the pressure of supporting their family, and dealing with Judy's reckless behavior. I started losing sleep. I couldn't concentrate on my work because I was too worried about how to fix things at home, DA Brat admitted. It wasn't just about money, it was about feeling like I was the only one fighting for us. This financial strain slowly chipped away at their relationship, making DA Brat feel more alone. I was constantly trying to fix something that wasn't my responsibility. It made me resentful and exhausted, DA Brat shared, her voice filled with frustration. I kept asking myself, why am I doing this? Why am I fighting so hard for someone who won't fight for us? The moment DA Brat realized Judy wasn't taking responsibility was a painful one. It wasn't a single moment, it was a build-up. But the breaking point was when I had to handle everything, again. DA Brat said, voice tinged with regret.
I realized I couldn't keep doing it.
I had tried to be supportive, I tried to help, but at the end of the day, Judy wasn't changing. This was the moment DA Brat saw the truth. Judy wasn't going to take responsibility, not for her finances or their relationship. I had been living in denial, thinking that maybe if I gave her one more chance, she'd change. But I finally saw it. She wasn't going to change, DA Brat admitted. The harder I tried, the worse it got. And that's when I knew I couldn't do it anymore. The burden of carrying the relationship on her own became too much for DA Brat to bear. I realized I was pouring all my energy into something that was breaking me, and Judy wasn't even trying to fix it, she said, eyes downcast. I had to make the hardest decision of my life, let go of the person I loved, because I couldn't keep holding on to someone who wasn't willing to fight for us. Judy's reaction to DA Brat's emotional revelation was a mixture of guilt, disbelief, and frustration. The weight of DA Brat's words hit Judy hard, and for a moment, it seemed as if the reality of what she had done to their relationship truly sank in. She was shocked, but also angry, DA Brat explained, reflecting on the confrontation. Judy wasn't prepared for the depth of DA Brat's feelings, and it seemed as though she couldn't grasp how things had spiraled so out of control. She was unable to fully process the extent of her actions, and instead of immediately taking responsibility, Judy reacted defensively. She didn't want to believe that her actions had gotten to this point, DA Brat continued. It was clear that Judy hadn't been ready to face the full weight of the damage she had caused. She had been living in a bubble, unaware of how much her behavior had affected DA Brat, and now that bubble had burst. Judy, visibly emotional and overwhelmed by the confrontation, attempted to justify herself by saying that she never intended to hurt DA Brat. She said she didn't mean to hurt me, DA Brat recalled, her voice laced with sadness. Judy's words were filled with regret, but the truth was that intentions didn't matter anymore. What mattered was the impact of her actions. But the truth was, she had hurt me in ways that couldn't be undone, DA Brat said, her voice breaking as she relived the pain she had felt. The emotional toll of the situation was more than just a temporary setback. It was a profound betrayal that had eroded the trust and love DA Brat had once believed in. No matter how much Judy claimed she didn't mean to cause harm, the reality was that the damage had already been done. Judy's attempt to salvage the relationship was filled with apologies, but DA Brat knew that words alone wouldn't be enough. She apologized, but it wasn't enough. The damage was done, DA Brat shared, reflecting on the sincerity, or lack thereof, in Judy's words. The apologies felt hollow to DA Brat, like a band-aid on a wound that needed much more than temporary relief. Judy's remorse seemed genuine, but her actions hadn't backed up the promises she had made in the past. She kept telling me that she didn't know how we got here, but I knew exactly how we got here, DA Brat said, frustration creeping into her voice. She knew that Judy wasn't fully acknowledging her role in the downfall of their relationship. It wasn't just about the mistakes that had been made, it was about Judy's failure to take responsibility for her part in causing the hurt. For DA Brat, the crux of the issue was that Judy wasn't owning up to the damage she had caused. She had apologized, but her words were empty without the actions to back them up. I didn't want her apologies. I needed actions, DA Brat said firmly, her voice resolute. She had been hurt in ways that couldn't be fixed by words alone. DA Brat had heard Judy's apologies before, but each time, they felt like the same empty promises that didn't lead to real change. No matter how many times Judy apologized, the hurt remained, lingering in the space between them, unresolved and unhealed. DA Brat knew that some wounds were too deep to be healed by words alone. She had longed for real change, for actions that would prove that Judy was committed to making things right, but that had never come. The hurt remained, DA Brat said softly, the sadness in her voice palpable. No matter how much Judy tried to convince her that things could improve, DA Brat couldn't ignore the truth. Things had already changed beyond repair. The betrayal wasn't just an isolated incident. It was a series of actions that had eroded the trust and love that had once defined their relationship. And I realized that sometimes, words can't fix what's already been broken, DA Brat said, the finality in her voice signaling that she had reached the point where she could no longer wait for Judy to change. The damage had been done, and despite all of Judy's tears and apologies, DA Brat knew that it was too late to go back. Judy's emotional response, though heartfelt, was no longer enough to convince DA Brat that they could rebuild what had been broken. The promises, the apologies, the tears, they all seemed like an attempt to salvage something that was already beyond saving. For DA Brat, the decision had been made. She had tried to make the relationship work, had given everything she could, but the reality was that the hurt was too deep and the trust was too shattered. The public was stunned by Brat's emotional revelations, with fans and celebrities alike flooding social media to offer support. Brat is showing so much strength in speaking out. She deserves better, one fan tweeted. This is heartbreaking. No one should be treated like that, another fan commented. Celebrities also expressed their support for Brat, praising her for being brave enough to share her truth.
This is so raw and real.
Brat is not just a survivor, she's a fighter, one celebrity posted. The emotional intensity of Brat's story resonated with many, and the support for her decision to walk away from the toxic situation was overwhelming. Brat has been through so much, but I know she's going to rise above this, another celebrity shared. The overwhelming response from fans reflected the collective pain and admiration for Brat's strength. After all the heartbreak and emotional turmoil, Brat is now focused on healing and moving forward. I'm done living in the past, Brat said with a sense of determination. I'm focusing on myself, my career, and my future. I'm not letting this define me. Despite the challenges, Brat is looking ahead, determined to rebuild both her professional and personal life. I've been knocked down before, but I know I'm stronger than I think, Brat shared, her voice filled with hope.
I'm not giving up on myself. I've got too much to live for.
The journey to healing won't be easy, but Brat is committed to moving forward with grace, confidence, and a renewed sense of purpose. I'm ready for what comes next. This is just a new chapter in my life, Brat said with a firm nod. And I'm going to make it count. If Brat's journey inspired you, be sure to like, subscribe, and share this video. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. How do you feel about Brat's courage to move forward?
We'd love to hear from you.